Stop laughing at me, Shavon. It's not funny.
Oh my goodness. So fun.
Pre-show shenanigans. Hey, y'all. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Women, Real Talk, episode 12. I'm doing it. I'm going to do it. I don't know if it's going to appear backward, but yeah, we did it. We're doing it. We are doing the darn thing. Welcome. Real Women, Real Talk is our opportunity to extend our Real Women organization, because we are real women and real women rock, out to you all. And so I am cordially inviting you into the circle. I am Trenace Richardson. I am the founder of Real Women. And who are you?
I am the Shavon Carter, and I am a facilitator for Real Women.
And we are the co-podcast host for this wonderful opportunity to come to you all, no matter where you are in the world. So please like, share, subscribe, all the places you can find us. We would love for you to share them with other people. Comment, send us comments, posts, emails. Go to our website at realwomenrock.org. We really want to hear from you and to connect with you. And so I get to drive this episode. I'm so excited. We got a good one in store for you. During this podcast, we hope that you will feel like we get you, we see you, we are you. And you'll be able to find something you can connect with and have some conversation with us, even, whether you're on your phone or watching us on TV or on your computer. Just go ahead and join in the conversation. Like, we really want to connect with you. So, sister, how you doing? First segment, real talk.
So I am doing so good. As you can see, for those who are watching, I have on my Merry Christmas.
Oh, you ready for Christmas?
My earrings.
That's so cool.
So today we had like a door decorating party at work. So in my division, they had all of the decorations, and we had Christmas music, we had finger foods, and it was just so festive and fun. A lot of laughter. So yeah, I just really enjoyed it today. We had a good time. We still did some work, but it was just a really good, fun day. So yeah, feeling good today.
Fun. I love that you show your Christmas stuff. We're getting in the mood and the spirit. I don't usually do this as much as I love music. Oh, I hate to admit this. Somebody's going to get me in the chat or in the comment. But I'm not really a criminal music kind of person. I love all different genres of music. But except for Silent Night. Except for that one.
Ooh, the shade, honey. What?
Oh my God. Sometimes it's ad nauseum. It's like, oh my God, if I hear Mariah Carey one more time, like all of that, it just gets to me. But seriously, something is shifting because I made a whole criminal playlist. So I am really good. I'm in my criminal zone right now. Yeah. And I'm an English teacher. I just like saying criminal.
What's so funny about that? So I'm from Jacksonville, and there is a song, and they say, "What you gonna get her for criminal?" I'm gonna send it to you because that's exactly how they say it. It's hilarious.
That's hilarious. I'm just on my country right now. Merry criminal.
Yeah.
So, I love that. So yeah, I'm feeling really good and festive myself. I'm playing. What I'm doing though is I'm finding artists that I really like.
Okay.
And most, everybody, not everybody, everybody. I'm on the country kick right now. Everybody is doing holiday albums, and so I'm finding a lot of those and putting them in my play rotation. So
nice.
I'm feeling good.
Christmas music. I just love it. Playlist. the same songs. I don't like the new stuff. Just give me the same old songs that I like to listen to, and I
Wow.
say that over and over.
I'm like, Lord Jesus, again.
Funny.
So yeah, and then in the stores and everything, it's everywhere. Oh, it's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm in the mood this Christmas season, so I'm enjoying
Okay.
it. Okay, but I have another real talk and aside because
Okay.
you and I had an opportunity to spend some of our Thanksgiving holiday together, some of
Yeah.
that, a piece of that weekend,
Hmm.
and it yielded some conversation. So I wanted to bring up a really fun real talk because I think it would resonate with both of us. And so I have a would you rather.
Okay.
Okay. And I want y'all to play who's listening and maybe comment. Would you rather, based on the conversations we've had, would you rather spend, I'm going to say $5,000? You just are gifted $5,000. It's an extra $5,000 from somewhere.
Mm.
Would you rather spend that $5,000 on a big ticket material item like jewelry, designer clothes, some high tech new gadget, something that you saw, something that is a high ticket material item?
Mm.
Or would you rather spend it on like non material stuff, like a trip or an experience? First answer that. Which one?
Absolutely a trip or an experience. I'm already
Listen,
thinking about where I would want to go. When you
listen,
said that, I'm like, we can do all the things.
all the
So
things.
yeah, I would absolutely plan a trip for sure. What about
I'm
you?
like, we could get 2 trips out of that five.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yes.
yes. Do you so the men in our lives, the people that we've had conversations with, it seems like, and I don't even draw gender lines, but
Uh,
I'm wondering whether the preference is guided by gender or just individual preference. What do you think?
I don't think it's gender because I do know, guys who would prefer a trip over
Okay.
buying like $5,000 shoes or something like that. So I
Mhm.
think it's just on the individual and what they value. I think it's
Yeah.
more of that. Yeah.
Okay. I
Mhm.
just thought I'd throw that out there as a
Yeah.
good starter into kind of where we're going. It might come back up
Uh-huh.
later
Listen,
in the
wait,
deep
but I'm
dive.
thinking money cometh to me. Bring me that $5,000. So I
Now, yep. Chloe and Haley have a song. I got money everywhere, falling off the trees. I'll send that to you. I sing it all the
can,
time because money coming to me now.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I do. I speak that $5,000 wherever you want to come from. Come on
Yes,
over.
I receive it.
I
Mhm.
receive it.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
was fun. Okay, that was our real talk segment, and we just like kind of warm each other up to see where we are and how we're doing. And then we just go ahead and get on the diving board and take a deep dive. Yep, just going in the water. Our second segment is called Deep Dive because we typically expound on some topic that we have covered in Real Women in our sister circles. If you have never been to a Real Women sister circle, we host them virtually. We have exciting things coming up in the new year that we're going to be talking about. But just go to realwomenrock.org if you'd like to hear more about our sister circles and the events and gatherings that we put together. But we draw some things from there for this podcast. And so at some point, we have probably had this conversation. I wanted to draw this out because of some of the conversations I've been in lately. And sister, I want to deep dive and talk about success. I
Okay,
want to
that's
talk
good.
about success because when you say that word,
Yeah.
it means something different to every person who hears it, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And so I think there's a whole lot of conversation we could have about it. And my ideas of success have changed and evolved and maybe even been seasonal, depending upon what season I'm in.
Mhm.
So I just want to start by asking you, what does success look like to you? And maybe has your idea of success changed over the years?
Yeah. So I'll start with the latter part first because my idea of success has changed over the
Mhm.
years. I think initially, years ago, my thought process about success was more tangible, like
Mhm.
money, achievements,
Mhm.
college degrees, having a good job that pays six figures. That equated to success for me because society and whoever else said that that's what it looked like. But now, my idea of success is, am I doing what I feel like God placed me on this earth to do? So am
Mhm.
I living out my purpose? And
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
that is what feels more fulfilling and successful to me, to know, to know what that is.
Yeah.
Know that I am called to, minister to women, and help them break free from emotional, mental change so that they can live out loud and do them,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like. But that's what feels successful to me, that I am
Mhm.
actually living out my purpose.
Mhm. That's so good. So good. I guess very similar to you. It has evolved over time. And I think I am healing from the they said syndrome, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
They
Mhm.
said that you were supposed to do this and have this.
Mhm.
And I hear you in the back of my head all the time saying, thou shalt not should on thyself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so thinking about all of the shoulds that I've held on to in my life, those shoulds have driven my conception of success, what I think
Mm.
success is, and it has been a certain level of money
Mhm.
and prestige, um, people knowing who I am for whatever the things are that I want them to,
Mhm.
being impressive to people, external, um, external appreciation, right? People appreciating me and telling me how wonderful I am has
Mhm.
been something that said, okay, I am successful because someone else recognizes it.
Mm.
Versus now, it is so much more intrinsic for me
Yeah.
that, um, if I am at peace
Mhm.
and if I am not allowing worry or anxiety to control me, uh,
Mhm.
and if I feel like my ducks are in a row and I have some level of I don't want to say control because there's some things I can't control, but if I'm at peace, if I am
Mhm.
at peace with different areas of my life, then that for me is success.
Yeah.
Um, because I really believe that some people who have the external, factors that most people consider successful internally worry so much,
Mhm.
or have this, anxiety or angst
Mhm.
inside of them that
Yeah.
really the external doesn't even matter to them.
Mm.
And so, for me, I have evolved, over time, and success has become more intrinsic for me.
Yeah.
um, but I do want to ask, because just because even I could come off as having some elevated, enlightened sense. I now have evolved to the point, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it could have, but do you believe there's a wrong way to conceptualize success, or is it to each, to his or her own?
I think it's to his or her own, because when I look back at, like I said, how I used to define success, that was where I was,
Mhm.
and so that was okay. That's how I felt about it, and that's how I defined it, and so that worked for me seeing it that way. And so if someone
Mhm.
else is like, I'm getting to the money, I'm getting to the bag, and that's success for them, by all means, that's great. Do that, believe that, and go get it, go after it. I think it really is a personal choice of what success is. And I think it
Mhm.
should be that. This is when I would use a should. I really think it should be a personal choice and not
Mhm.
influenced by external factors, because it would be true and authentic and true and real for you. So just not letting other people define success for you, really
Mhm.
get to figure out what that is for yourself. And when
Mm.
I think about how I defined it, what came to mind also is, once I reached whatever I thought success was, then it's like, okay, well, now what?
Mhm.
I got the money, I
Mhm.
got the job, I got the career and the status and the achievements. So that's when it's like, okay, there's got to be more than just checking off the boxes of these things. So that's
Mhm.
looking more internally and just looking at spiritually, like, God, why am I here? And
Mhm.
it's really being focused on that. That for me helped me to transition from just seeing it being about the money to something a little deeper. But however
Mhm.
you define it, I think that's your business.
Yeah, that's your business. I
Mhm.
One of the things I thought of while you were talking is whatever your level of success is, success probably has to be maintained and
Mm,
nurtured. Success is not a one and done, no matter what your definition of it is, right?
right.
If
Yep.
it's money, you gotta, keep earning it or saving it or something, right?
Yeah.
If it's a relationship, you've got to nurture it. If
Mhm.
it's a job, you've got to continue working at it. You can
Yeah.
always, dip in your performance and the
Mhm.
outcomes don't turn out the way you will. If it's internal peace, and this is so important for me to say out
Mhm.
loud because I know what tools work for me. I
Mhm.
know what resources I need to tap into for me to feel at peace. And
Mhm.
remember, I said at peace in various areas of my life is what success looks like for me now. So
Mhm.
I know what those tools and resources are.
Mhm.
But in the moments that I slack off and don't tap into those,
Yeah.
then all of the shoulds and the they says, and I'm subject to all of that all over again because
Mhm.
I'm not using my tools. And so
Mhm.
I guess, not, oh, this is so good to me right now, that success is attainable to everyone.
Mhm.
We just have to be really clear and honest about what really matters to us.
Yes.
And no matter what that looks like for you, it's going to take some work to maintain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is
Yeah.
not a one and done. It is
Mm.
not I've checked all of these boxes, and so I have reached the mountain top of success and that's it. If you want it to be that, it can be.
Sure.
Um, but what I hear you talking about, it's something that is sustained and maintained over time, and it could evolve into something totally different. But yeah, it's just a part of the journey.
Yeah. Yeah. I look at that word and I'll let it go soon, but I look at that word and there have been different times in my life. And it's so funny that I look at this word similarly to how I look at the word religion. Uh,
Mm,
because there have been times in my life when I held on to it so tightly.
yeah,
And then in the last episode, I talked about being a rebellious teenager when it comes to cooking.
yeah,
It's similar fashion with both of these words. I don't know why I'm talking about religion right now, but I'm sure it's going to reveal itself.
sure.
But with success, I have released it and been like, I don't want none of that. Like I've done the same thing with religion. Like there are certain pieces of it, like I just would repel
Mhm,
because it would mean either I'm being too materialistic
mm,
or, I've I've passed the point of being able to achieve that, or something about it made me say, like push it away.
Yeah.
I've done that with religion, and with certain parts of religion, just because some of it appeared really judgmental and ugly to me, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But to be able to, in this moment, I can only talk about where I am.
Mm-hmm.
I choose to just reflect on where I've been, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time worrying about where I'm going. I'm going to really appreciate where I am right now. And
Mm-hmm.
where I am as it relates to success and religion is to figure out what works to bring me the most amount of peace and
Mm-hmm.
joy and comfort and freedom and love,
Mm-hmm.
that as I am figuring out what that looks like for me, I am able to give out of my overflow.
Yeah.
And I
Mm-hmm.
guess that's what I'm saying. Success looks like to me being so at peace
Mm-hmm.
and so full of joy and so full of love that I am not giving away what I don't have.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm giving out of my overflow and not out of my reserves.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
You know what that made me think about when we were talking about religion as an example?
Mhm.
My hope for those who are watching this, who may
Mhm.
be bound by success, by what they believe success was,
Mm.
just as they may have or may be bound by what people say religion should look like. My hope is that this conversation will help to free them up a little bit, because there are a lot of people who are thinking about success and seeing themselves as I don't measure up. So they're beating themselves up because they don't deem themselves to be successful. And that is just, it's like, you get to choose, you get to define it for yourself. It doesn't have to be that. Give yourself permission to decide what you want success to look like, and not allow all these messages to weigh you down and have you in bondage and confined to what other people say success should be.
Whew, let me tell you, this is why we are sisters, because you helped me see why I
Mhm,
even brought up the word religion, because in the
mhm,
same way that you just talked about people being bound by the perceptions of what folks think success should look like,
mhm.
um, it's so funny. It's not funny that there can be this perception of what a spiritually enlightened person
Yeah.
should look like,
Mhm.
and the things that a highly religious, saved, Holy Ghost filled, fire baptized, whatever the thing, the spiritually enlightened words are that
Yeah.
you use in your spiritual culture, that if
Mhm.
you don't hit those marks, if you don't
Yeah.
shout that shout, or if you don't speak those tongues, or
Yeah.
if you don't fast for several days, or if you don't do this or that, that you are not the ideal Christian or the ideal saved person, or
Mhm.
the, at the pinnacle of your spiritual height. And
Mhm.
that also is a bound perception of, of,
Absolutely.
of
Yeah.
spiritual success, right?
Mhm.
And so the idea of having someone else dictate to us,
Mhm.
when God is so much bigger than
Mhm.
that. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, literally, our conception of who
Mhm.
God is limited.
Yes,
We
yes.
cannot imagine the depth,
Mm,
the height, the breadth of God.
mm.
We genderize God
Yeah,
because of our limitations. Like,
yeah,
we
yeah.
humanize God. We give God human traits because of
Mm,
our perception and
mm.
our limitations of
Yeah.
God. And
Mm,
so, if God is bigger than that, then
mm,
certainly our perception of who we are in a big God like that cannot be dictated by someone else.
Right.
And so those are doors that have opened for me. It's opened my heart and my mind to another level of spiritual success. I cannot believe I did not intend or plan for us to move this conversation about success into what it means for us spiritually, but it is so appropriate.
It's so appropriate because I know for myself how much bondage I was in because of how I internalized the messages that I received in church, in different places, and what I made it mean. And I also know the freedom that I have now and how deeper my relationship with God is when I get outside of those confined walls, inner spiritual walls. And so I think that may also be a part of my purpose, is to help people break free from the bondage, that many of us have been in and may still be in.
So good. This has been helpful to me, because this conversation, and please let us know if this has been helpful to you, because whether it is material success, professional success, financial, relationship, whatever, spiritual success, whatever that standard is that you have placed on yourself or has been imposed on you, you have the power to shift that. You have the power. I think about the other thought I wanted to share while you were talking. I think about all the questions that I had regarding religion that literally I was told, you don't question God. You don't ask those questions because that shows a lack of faith and trust. And I think how many of us are in boxes of ignorance. Not in religion, outside of religion, related even to what success can look like for us. Because we have been afraid to ask questions, because we would look stupid or ignorant or not knowledgeable, that we would not look like we were one of them if we didn't act like we already had the answers.
Right.
But it is curiosity that generates success. It really is. It's curiosity, because the question has to be asked first, or the notion has to be challenged first, in order for a new opening, a new door, a new idea to emerge. So this is good to me. What are you thinking?
Because when you said curiosity, it made me think of the personal development work that I do, that we do in Real Women. We invite women to get curious about themselves instead of judging themselves. Get curious about ourselves so that we can explore areas within ourselves. We can ask ourselves questions like, I wonder what I was going through when I made that decision, or what was really going on. What's at my core that's driving the way I think or the way I believe, and all of those things. So it's an opportunity to learn when we're curious, even with self development.
And let me tell you something. There are some people who venture into that realm of exploration and are not ready for it. They step in and they start asking themselves questions, and they're like, I don't want to be in there. No, I don't want to talk to that. Because it takes you somewhere to start asking those questions. And I will even say, there are some women that we have experienced who were curious enough about themselves to start that exploration process. But they made people in their lives nervous about that exploration process. And so they got pulled out of that curiosity by people in their lives. And so there is a level of, here we are. I got it. I found it. I found my help. there is a level of success that some of us are not attaining because we are even afraid to understand what success looks like for us
Come on.
differently than somebody else's level or definition of success. So if I just hold myself accountable to your level of success or what you have imposed on me or said the standard is, I will never probably achieve that feeling of at peace and success that I'm supposed to feel, because I have not defined it for me. You defined it for me, or I took on your definition. And so it is so necessary to be curious about yourself so that you can figure out not only what makes me tick, but when I am at my highest self, when I am exposing and living out my best self, and all parts of me are aligned and I'm managing me well. What does that look like? Once you visualize and begin to feel what that looks like, can't nobody tell you nothing about success, because you know it for you.
Yes. And you can stand 10 toes down, and it's like the Bible talks about a tree that's firmly planted, like you are firmly planted and rooted, like the roots are growing in the ground, and you are exactly where you were created to be. And you're not, you may go like this, but you're not, you're swaying, but you're not wavering from your position of where you need to be. So yeah.
So good. Wow, I didn't know we were going there, but that was good to me.
It's good to me too. I felt that thing. Yeah.
That felt like church right there. That was good.
And we, it can happen.
Somebody passed the offering plate. Yes.
Everywhere. And in us, too. So shoot.
That is so good. That is so good. So good. That was a word. Thank you for that, sister. Y'all, that was a deep dive. That's what we call a deep dive.
Yeah.
Thank you for that second segment. So I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we coming back up out of there. So we was like in the 6 foot deep water in the swimming pool, if we had to be in the swimming pool, and now we coming up to wade in the water.
Yeah, my legs shaking. You say your legs were shaking last time. I'm just like, ooh, I'm excited. That got me
so good.
Yes.
So good. So I want to have a little fun with this, okay? Because we've been talking about, high ticket items versus experiences and trips and what success really looks like. And so in this third segment, this is called Put Myself in Her Shoes, where we discuss current events or we pose a trending question or a scenario for discussion. And we want to know what you think about it, how you would handle it. But we take one of those scenarios out here or that have been created, and we put literally ourselves in their shoes. And it allows us to practice some empathy rather than just saying you should or they should, or it allows us to see what we would have done if we really had been in that situation. And so I just want to talk about another successful person out here doing themselves and see what we think about this. This kind of predates when we started the podcast, but I wanted to go back for this because we've never had a chance to talk about it together like this, sister. So Lori Harvey, Steve Harvey's daughter, is considered by some as a little bit promiscuous, let's say. Country folks would on that side would call her fast tail. That's what they would say. My grandma would say fast tail.
Right. Oh, that's hilarious. That's exactly what they used to say.
That's what they would say. Because her reputation is she dates a lot of guys. Like they have a whole chronicle I've seen on one podcast recently. They kind of went through the rooter to the tutor, how, who she's publicly dated.
Yeah.
And it, quite a few people. And I'm really not sure if men in her same shoes who date a lot of women get the same negative press, but she got a lot of negative press for it, right? So that's a whole conversation that we could have. But basically, my question is, if you were 20 something, I think she is, and you were as young and single and ready to mingle as she is or was, I don't know her personal life personally, but just as she portrays in public, would you do exactly what she did and project and put out there every person that you've dated, that publicly you choose to? I dated him, we broke up, yep, now I'm dating him, and we broke up, and now yes, I'm dating him. Would you do that, or would you restrict yourself and be mindful? And I'm going to call this your dating count. Be mindful of your dating count, because I think one of the things that has been said about her that none of us know, that's different from body count. Like, we don't know how many of them she slept with. We don't know, she could be a virgin for all we know. We just don't know. We don't know her personal life like that. But she does have a high dating count, right? So would you publicly and unashamedly do it, or would you be more mindful and restrictive based on it?
Okay, I got a lot of thoughts about this. So, putting myself in her shoes, I have had a hot girl decade. It wasn't just the summer.
What? It was I thought you were gonna say season or summer.
No. All of my 20s. All of them. So I have experienced, so I have experienced like dating multiple people. And I've also experienced like where I am now, just being mindful of dating and being more intentional in that way. So what comes to mind is what we were just talking about, the curiosity. The counselor in me is just wants to know more. So I think for me, when I look at my hot girl decade and getting curious about myself, there were some things that were contributing to that decision for me.
That's good.
So I think my question would be like, what is that about, really? Is it just a desire to be liberated and do what I want to do? Fine, do that. Or is there something else underneath that's contributing to the behavior? So that's kind of my perspective on it, because I've been on both sides, and on this wiser side, it's like I wouldn't want to have as many people as I had. Just point blank, period. Whether it be dating or just, I didn't want to have all those experiences. I didn't need that many. So I think that's where I am as it relates to that.
Yeah, that's good. I love your spin on both your experience, but also the curiosity piece that comes from the counselor in you. So I love that perspective, because it does allow you to think a little deeper. And honestly, it lets you know, one, we don't know half the story. We don't know an inkling of the story behind any of what's happening in her life, as it relates to the dating and anything else that contributes to what we see. We don't know. And so hopefully, I've always said this, that even the people who look like they've got it all together or have it going on, I hope that there is someone who is asking those questions and all that kind of stuff, so that she can explore that if she's not doing it within her already, because those are good questions, I think, that you posed. So for me, I'll say, because of my church background, this is so twisted, but it's true. Because I was either taught that I'm too young to do anything, then I need to be chaste and abstinent, even when I'm old enough to do it. And I should get married before I start doing anything, because of all of those limitations put in my head. I was as down low and secretive about my relationships as I could possibly be throughout my dating life. So I didn't prance around. I didn't. And so I'm putting me in her shoes. I didn't publicize. I would have probably been like some of these celebrities out here. You never know who they dating until they get at the altar, right?
Right.
So I was as low key about it as I could possibly be. I mean, if we go out, you're gonna see us out.
Right.
I did some of my dating life with no social media available to me, so I'm that old, and so there wasn't that for some, for me at some points. But I would take a picture, So I don't know that I would have done it had I not thought, if they see me, they're going to think we doing something, that kind of thing. Like there was a whole bunch of stuff going on in my head that made me not want to be like, this my boo. And then next month, this my boo, that wasn't in me to do.
Yeah.
But I still had boos though.
Right. But they were there. They was there.
They were there. They just won't advertise, but they were there. And I think similar to you, I could have a couple of those could have, not been and could have saved me a little headache and exploration. And it was just a lot for some of those relationships. Many I'm grateful for. Honestly, I learned a lot, but a couple were not worth it. So, so that's where I am. I would probably not prance around just because of my background. But I have another question about this because I have a different perspective slightly different on how I would advise young women in my life now. Because maybe it wouldn't be all the way to the Lori Harvey, quote unquote, extreme.
Yeah.
Where, she's, there's seems to be a revolving door and we get to see all of them. But I think going back to the earlier point about gender, I think men have more of a license to date and explore than women do.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is women latch on to the one person they like, and and this is so stereotypical and I'm just generalizing, but it's just a generalization for the sake of this conversation. We hold on to this one person and become monogamous and forsake all others and start treating this one person like they're not just a boyfriend, but they're a husband at this point. And we give all of our feelings and all of our coochie and, all of it. We give all of it to this one person when this man possibly has more than one person, possibly, or has not invested that many feelings, not as much as we have invested, so that when the relationship doesn't work out, he at least thinks, because of the way men have been taught, okay, so I'll get over her. She hurt me, but I'll get over her and I can move on to the next one. Or I had one on reserve, so I'm good.
Yeah.
And a woman is brokenhearted trying to pull the pieces back together, and then that whole cycle happens all over again with the next person.
Yeah.
And it's a generalization, but it's something that I've done. I can speak from experience. And so my advice to women, especially young women in my life, is date. Like actually, and unless you all have a conversation about you both being monogamous, and it isn't something that necessarily you initiated and keep bringing up and trying to force a guy into, unless it's something that, you're clear that he wants to do and he makes that clear to you, then that means both of y'all are free to date. And that frees you up from the emotional tie of just one person.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Those are just my thoughts as it relates to empowering younger women now who are dating. Since I'm out of that, I'm out of that game. But what are your thoughts about that?
I have a both and. So I was one of those people that would latch on to that one person and then that be my everything. And I also I do have that that thought process of, I think it is important to date, multiple people until you are ready to settle down with that one person, because it helps you to learn more about yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
the dating multiple people is one, but also really, as you're doing that, have those curiosity checks with yourself also, so that you can understand what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because all of it has effects, so if
Mm-hmm.
you choose to be doing it how Lori is doing it, that's on you, and understand what may come with that if you desire to settle down at some point. Now, you may
Yeah.
not, maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
not what you desire to do and you want to live in that way, but be thinking about your end game too. Like, what are you trying to accomplish as you're doing this? So I think that's where the self-evaluation comes in. So I think it's, get to know different people. It doesn't mean you have to have sex with everybody, but also get to know yourself too, because relationships really do, the relationship you have with yourself impacts the relationship you have with other people. So it can't just be all about the other people and ignoring yourself. So that's what I would share.
That's good. I love that both and. And
Mm-hmm.
it gives me an opportunity to say that in my conception of how I would advise younger women, I'm not even putting sex into that equation. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not saying have sex with every person you date and date, a bunch of people, because I
Mm-hmm.
think there's a whole nother level of
A
a
lot.
level of feelings and emotions and risks and all of that come
Yeah.
from that.
Mm-hmm.
But I love what you just said, because for me, I'm focused on the empowering piece of, you have more control over your emotions and your situation if
Mm-hmm.
you're not giving it all away.
Yeah.
But and not but and in the process of dating, period, looking
Mm-hmm.
inward to see where you are and why you are where you are. I love
Mm-hmm.
that. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Curiosity has been has been a theme for
Yeah. Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
I love that word and that idea. And I don't know if you have any other thoughts, because it feels like it's moving into segment 4 for me. I
Yeah.
feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I would love for you to come to some conclusions for yourself as well. I love the both and of us doing this segment together, but
Mm-hmm.
this is our spiritual nugget segment, where we just try to leave you with something that would make you think and feel and consider, maybe in a different way than you had before, or to reinforce and affirm some thoughts that you may have.
Mm-hmm.
um, and that word, just curiosity, keeps coming up for me, that I believe that not only is their creativity is birthed out of curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
and for me, creativity comes from the word create, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we are creators. We are co creators with God as it relates to our lives. God gave us life and breath. And then after that, we have been endowed with and endued with power and authority and dominion and intelligence and our faculties and our senses. God has gifted us with so much to be a creator, to co-create, to let us create, like in
Yeah.
so we get the opportunity to do that. And in order for us to create a life, a successful life,
Mm-hmm.
we in relationships, to feel empowered to be all of who we are in a relationship and figure that out. It takes us being curious first about ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and then about the folks that we are in connection with. So yeah, creativity is it comes from curiosity. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts?
Yeah. My thoughts are, from this conversation, apply it to your life.
Mm-hmm.
Take the pieces that really resonate with you and just give yourself space to look at your life different, to look at success different, to get curious about yourself
Mm-hmm.
and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Shift
Mm-hmm.
your perspective, be open, and just see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Take that step a little higher to that bird's eye view that you were talking about and see things differently. I
Yeah.
love that.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This has been good, sister.
Ooh, that's a good one right here. Yeah.
Mhm. You talk that talk. We talk that talk today. Listen, y'all, this is Real Women, Real Talk
Mhm.
because we right here, we are real women. And
Yeah.
what?
And real women talk deeply.
We be talking. We be talking.
Yes.
Thank y'all so much for being with us for yet another episode. Please share this episode with someone. Go back and watch our prior episodes and like, follow, and share us on all social media platforms. We look forward to seeing y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.